Hello everybody and welcome back to a brand new episode of our F1 2021 My Driver Career Mode here on the channel as we head to Azerbaijan here today. Last season when we were here in Azerbaijan we came up just shy of our first win at that time of the season as we finished second in a photo finish to our teammate at the time of Sebastian Vettel here now as we are headed in to this Baku City GP now after the Monaco GP didn't quite go any good direction for the McLaren racing team here now as we lost the Constructors' Points lead and myself and Ricciardo both fell down the standings, and we saw Verstappen, we saw Gasly as well as Lando Norris really capitalize on our struggles here, and so we come into this weekend with some ground to make up here now. And we have seen, other than Monaco where a track that's impossible to pass when you can actually have some freedom to make some passes and whatnot, as you see, actually had a bit of a mistake there in practice, but Daniel Ricciardo has been basically unbeatable so far this season when he's not having some form of mechanical issue. 4 races complete. Ricciardo started the season off with a win in Bahrain. He was unmatchable. We come through into Imola. He was unmatchable. Ended up having a mechanical fault that took him out of this race. Portimao, once again, unmatchable. Won that race. Monaco was Monaco. Not much you can do about it there, no matter how good your car is when you're in traffic. And you saw it with myself and Daniel both, but Daniel had a mechanical failure in Monaco as well. So his routine so far is win, retire, which means, I would assume, based off the trends, we got to look out for Ricciardo to potentially win here once again today in Azerbaijan. Hopefully not the case. Hopefully I'm the one coming out on top and getting my second win in the season here now, as we haven't done anything more than one win in a season so far in this F1 career mode now, as I would like to change that here today with this McLaren Vodafone team in the Azerbaijan GP here. Now, as you can see in Q1, it was a breeze. We got through into Q2 with 0 issues, and relatively similar here in Q2 as well. It really wasn't much of a match here now, as we have a lot of speed in this McLaren Vodafone. Myself and Ricciardo just breezing into Q2. I go P2, Daniel, he goes P1, but he was on the medium compound tire and would be the only one to make it on the medium compound tire and still went P1. Ricciardo is going to be a huge force to be reckoned with and now might be on the preferred strategy for the race as well, so that makes it even tougher for any of us to be able to have a chance to beat Daniel here in Baku now as we come through into my one and only run now in Q3 behind Pierre Gasly. You saw right there in turn 1, made a bit of a mistake, a bit of an error, slip up right there, and then we come through getting that DRS down and just try to stick with Gasly, just not get too close, but stick with him to where I can have a slipstream down that long front straightaway. Ricciardo was looking set to get pole here in Azerbaijan now as we would come through towards these final few moments of this lap, and unfortunately I was just a little bit out of that slipstream range, and we come through to cross the line and go P4. Ricciardo goes to the top of the board again. He would start pole for the Azerbaijan GP. The one track we've ever gotten a pole at was this race last season. Not going to happen here today with McLaren as we end up P6 on the grid. I left some time on the table. You saw some mistakes throughout the lap, but nonetheless we're going to head to the grid and hopefully we can put the fight to Daniel Ricciardo.
Warm welcome to you from Azadlik Square, heart of Baku and home of course to the Azerbaijan Grand Prix. With high speeds, tight corners and few runoff zones, many are expecting a safety car here today, so our drivers will have to stay very much on their toes and hopefully away from the barriers. With 20 turns and a length of 3.7 miles, Baku City Circuit in the heart of the Azerbaijan capital is a real test of a driver's endurance, patience and precision. 90-degree corners through Sector 1 lead into a tightening uphill sprint as we start to circle around the old city. Then a 1.4-mile chase flat out through Sector 3 towards the finish line. Alongside me once again for coverage of today's race, it's none other than the great Anthony Davidson. Now, I want to ask you about Yuki Tsunoda. Looks like they've got a tough race in store today as grid penalties from changing power unit components has forced them further down the field.
But on the bright side, at least those fresh components can help them maintain the power they need to come through the pack. I expect to see them take a more aggressive approach today to make up for the compromised start.
Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks for today's race. Daniel Ricciardo has a clear view ahead from pole position, edging out Max Verstappen, who'll start from P2. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Gasly, Norris, the Golden Boy and Bottas, Hamilton, Vettel, Giovinazzi and Carlos Sainz, Leclerc, Ocon, George Russell and Islet, Tsunoda, Joe, Nicholas Latifi and Christian Lundgaard. Mick Schumacher and Lance Stroll brings the grid to a close. And with preparations almost complete, let's head down to the track.
So then, getting ready to go green and lights out here from Azerbaijan now as we start P5 on the grid, moving up one spot due to some grid penalties. But in front of us is going to be Ricciardo, you got Verstappen, you got Norris, as well as Pierre Gasly, Bottas, Hamilton just behind us. They've made some improvements in the R&D, but still seem to be struggling here, and that's pretty evident early on in this season, as right now it looks like it's a McLaren versus Red Bull with an AlphaTauri kind of mixed in here and there, as we are ready though to grid up and go. Lights out here from Azerbaijan. Ricciardo needs a good start, and so do we. Now is this going to be 5 red lights here in Baku? It's going to be lights out, and we are underway here from the Azerbaijan GP. Ricciardo covers off the Red Bull very well into turn 1, but there you see him move up the inside, but Ricciardo's able to just get the power down and get away cleanly, and he will already be out in front over Max Verstappen. Lando Norris here now, as you continue to see in the background there, Christian Lundgaard scrambling out there, elbows out against the 2 Ferrari drivers as Leclerc and Sainz try to power their way right on past that Williams Porsche there, the Haas Maseratis in the back, and there you see myself tucked in behind Pierre Gasly. So I started P5 and I held on to P5. Thank goodness it was a short run down into turn 1. I still just can't get my starts very good here. I think I've only had 1 or 2 good starts where I actually gained something throughout this whole career mode so far. So I got a lot of work to do, and I feel like if we want to put the fight to Daniel Ricciardo this season for a World Drivers' Championship, we almost have to look to get him on the start of these races, and as well that's going to take a bit better of a qualifying effort, because you can see in Q3 I've had trouble stepping it up for a at least top 3 starting position so far this season. So that's another thing that we need to work on before we even have to worry about getting off the grid well here when we go 5 lights out here now, as we would continue though on our way in P5 on this opening lap here in Azerbaijan. You can see it looks like a repeat of Portimao. We're stuck behind Pierre Gasly as well as the 2 Red Bulls of Verstappen and Lando Norris here. Now coming to lap 3, Ricciardo, he sets the fastest lap of the GP so far here now, as we would be coming to a few moments later here. You can see George Russell scrapping it out there with Christian Lundgaard. He got passed by the Ferraris of Leclerc and Sainz, but Lundgaard was not making it easy on anybody here. The British driver of Russell up the inside here as they're going to go down into turn 2, but you can see that Williams Porsche, well, they're going to put the fight to the former Williams driver of Russell here. Now Yuki Tsunoda just in behind after some grid penalties has set him back once again, just like he was set back in Monaco here. Now as you see Tsunoda going to lunge up the inside down into turn 3. He should be able to pull off the pass here now, as this, no, not going to happen quite yet. They continue wheel to wheel. Like I said, Lundgaard really not giving many people a break there. Wheel to wheel contact there. Lundgaard washed up into the side of Tsunoda. Can't be thrilled with that. I'm sure Yuki is not here, but you can see once again Lundgaard, now he's wheel to wheel with Esteban Ocon. It just continues to go downhill for Lundgaard, but he is not going to give up easy, but he would finally settle in behind Ocon and in front of the Audi of Callum Ilott now, as we would be still on lap 4 in P5, just right on the gearbox of Pierre Gasly. We had good pace in the car, but once again I felt like I was in a position where I was at in Portimao. I had enough speed, but I just couldn't quite complete the passes here now. So we actually are going to pit at the end of lap 5 alongside Pierre Gasly here in that AlphaTauri. Max Verstappen into the pit lane as well. Ricciardo, he started on that medium compound tire. He's already driven away on the slower tire compound here. So, I mean, that just sets the statement right off the bat for the Australian that he is coming through and trying to get another win already now. As I think if he wins today in Azerbaijan, he's already won more races this season than he did in the completion of last season here now. So what a hot streak Ricciardo has already started off on, and really should have won every race so far other than the Monaco here now. As you can see now, unfortunately, myself and Gasly would get stuck behind the Audi of Guan Yu Zhou. Gasly makes an aggressive move here into the downhill braking zone, and Gasly outbrakes himself into the barrier. He goes. It's going to do some wing damage to his own car, and now we had to wait for the opportunity to pass him here as he was off the pace, and that would happen right here down this front straightaway. I would breeze past Gasly. Gasly's going to come back into the pit lane a lap later to replace that front wing, so there's a free position. But after being held up by Guan Yu Zhou and Gasly, I would come out multiple positions behind where I was originally here. I got Antonio Giovinazzi in front of us, and guess what happens? We get stuck behind another Audi. There's Callum Ilott there, just planting that Audi directly in front of myself and Antonio Giovinazzi. Sebastian Vettel, former teammate, just behind. Giovinazzi gets the elbows up, gets a little aggressive here through these sweeping left and right right-handers here down this run straightaway, and I'm going to follow through. There was no momentum on Giovinazzi's side after going side by side through there, so I blow past Eilert and Antonio and move back up into the 6th position, and now we would get up into 5th past Russell and try to close in towards Lando Norris, towards Valtteri Bottas. Now as you see yellow flags on the track, though, it's going to be for Carlos Sainz, just like in Monaco, 2 GPs in a row. It is going to be a mechanical failure there for Carlos Sainz. Parks in an awfully dangerous position, but surprisingly no virtual safety car or safety car here. But eventually we come through to lap 12, and I had run down Lando Norris, and I'd made the pass on Lando Norris. I'd run down Valtteri Bottas, and you can see on this second run we have way more pace than everybody around us, because here we are with the aid of DRS and ERS and overtake. We're going to blow on past Valtteri Bottas, who's actually going to send it down into turn 3. I go a little bit sideways into there, but we pull off the pass and move up into 2nd place. Ricciardo had already made his first pit stop of the day, but well, he was already long gone, 13 seconds down the road on the soft compound. Just like the other GPs to start this season, Ricciardo is lights out fast here. Now at the conclusion of lap 15, I'm coming in to make my final pit stop here of the day for a 2nd set of medium compound tires, but I just didn't know what to do with Daniel Ricciardo at this point. How is this guy going to be stopped here? The only thing that's kept us close to him is his couple of mechanical failures here now, as it was going to be a 2nd place to Daniel in Bahrain. It was going to be a 2nd place to him in Imola here. Now as you can actually see on lap 16, a little bit more drama there for George Russell, who's in the Alpine having a mechanical failure of his own. He pulls over to the side of the track, no safety car needed for that, so we would continue on here, and now on to lap 17, and we were up into 4th place, but as the pit cycle would, you know, sort of self out here, we passed Lando Norris, go up into 3rd place, and actually set the fastest lap of their GP. I was setting a blistering pace here. Now Ricciardo had made his 2nd and final stop as well, put on the medium compound tire. Well, he was at 14.5 seconds between him and I'm right on the back of Charles Leclerc, who's stretching out his 2nd run here, and we are going to blow on past him, and well, we're going to set the fastest lap just about, but it wasn't quite enough. So I was pushing extremely hard at this point. I wanted to prove that I can at least put in a better lap time than what Daniel Ricciardo can, and we closed that gap to 13.6 seconds, and we would continue to slowly reel him in here. 13.4, we crossed the line. Fastest lap of the race there. Now as it's crucial to get any fastest lap point we can possibly get here, especially with Ricciardo being as good as he is right now, as we would close the gap to about 12 seconds here. And now 5 laps to go in this GP. Obviously at this point Daniel is just too far down the road to run down, and I can't believe we're going to go the first 5 GPs of the season without a virtual safety car or a safety car in general here. I don't think that's ever happened, and we ended the season on a calm note as well. We had no safety cars towards the end of the season either, so it's been a crazy stretch of races, but we unfortunately jumped straight through to the final lap. My pace had fallen off, the gap was back up to 14 seconds, and well, Daniel Ricciardo, to put it simply, was just unmatchable once again here in Azerbaijan. We talked about how he dropped the ball against Lando Norris last season, and we thought I was going to be replacing Ricciardo instead of the other way around where I replaced Norris. Well, Ricciardo has come back with a statement this season. He has been unbeatable, and he is going to prove that once again here, as he will win in Baku, as we would come through moments later, about 14 seconds later, down this long front straightaway to cross the line here. In a relatively calm race for myself, other than the first half. Valtteri Bottas looks like he's going to come through to round off the podium. Mercedes finally on the podium, as that is going to be a step in the right direction for that team, as Hamilton looks to try and build upon some momentum as well. Yuki Tsunoda, driver of the day. Let's head to the podium for the celebrations.
And so ends another Azerbaijan Grand Prix, a fascinating race and a well-deserved victory. Tell me, Ant, how did they manage to achieve this win?
I think a large part of the result comes down to temperament. They were able to keep their heads when everyone around them was losing theirs, and that's allowed them to get the best out of the car, to maximise the strategy, and to stay out of trouble.
As the winners make their way up to the podium, one can only imagine the celebrations that will take place at McLaren tonight. Congratulations to everyone on the team, securing the win and proving they're a force to be reckoned with out on the track. Today,
So, if anyone has ideas how I can beat Daniel Ricciardo in the cleanest way possible without cleaning him out, let me know, because right now I've got nothing for him. We showed some points right there in that final run that we can put in a faster lap than Ricciardo, but I really don't know what I got for him. So we actually moved back to 1-2 in the standings, 8 points behind Ricciardo, Norris, Verstappen, 12 and 19 back, and then you see Gasly, Bottas, Hamilton, Tsunoda, Sainz, and Giovinazzi round out the top at 10. And in the constructors, we go back to the top as well by 23 points over Red Bull, 59 over AlphaTauri, Mercedes down in 4th, 5th is Ferrari, Aston Martin in P6 there. Now Sebastian Vettel starting to recover here from his poor start to the season, and as always, if you guys enjoyed, you know what to do. Going into this next one, we're actually headed to my home GP in Canada, Montreal, so hopefully this is the race where we can bring the heat to Ricciardo, because, well, there hasn't been a single GP this season that we've been able to go faster than him. So let's hope my home GP in Canada is the time we get to do it. And Ricciardo now has won more races this season than he did all of last season. We're already running out of time, so hopefully we can bring the heat to him in Canada. Thank you for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one for my home GP in Montreal, and have yourselves a great day.